Welcome to Tales, Tunes, and Tomfoolery starring Jerry Springer, along with Gene Galvin and me. I'm Megan Hills. We're recorded live in front of a brilliant studio audience at the Folk School Coffee Parlor in Ludlow, Kentucky.
My daddy came home.
And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, back from the convention, the one, the only, Jerry Springer.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It is with deep humility that I accept the nomination of my party to be your president. Hey, it was a great, great convention. Of course, we loved, well, some of us loved the outcome, but put that aside just for a moment. To be there in a moment of history, and you had everyone who was significant, on, quote, Democratic side, for the last decade. I mean, 2 decades. I mean, from, not just the president, obviously, and Michelle Obama, but Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton. It was just, the whole thing was great. I mean, if you love this stuff, it was the greatest place to be because in that universe, it was like, yes. But you got to remember that that was inside the hall. When you walk outside the hall and back out to the rest of America, we didn't yet know what the reaction would be, though. To begin with, it looks pretty good so far.
It was amazing, and we have to say, well, let's just set this up. Jerry and I went to the convention. We got there last Sunday in the kind of late afternoon. It was very difficult to get there, but we took care of business. We flew on Jerry's Gulfstream. That was very hard to do and real hardship.
I didn't get to go to this one, so
let's cover that. Megan Hills.
I'm not used to having other people on my plane. Frankly, I found it annoying.
It made me stay like 6 seats back, rows back. But Megan couldn't go because Megan has had, I think now, 8 vacations already this year.
27. No, I had to work, Gene. I had to go
so she
collect
was
a
unable
paycheck.
to be part of it. And we did, by the way. Let's be honest. This is a team of 3. Jerry, Megan, and Gene, but we stayed in touch.
We did. We did. Well, I got to see all your Facebook posts, which were really cool. The Facebook Live posts were really interesting, and I thought that worked out really well. So it was cool to see it from your eyes and your perspective. But it had to have just been thrilling to have been there. What was your favorite part? Like, what was your favorite moment?
Well, every day it got better. But actually watching Hillary accept the nomination. That's for those of us of my age and Gene's age, it was like this was a lifetime. And finally, when she said that, I accept the nomination. In other words, it was a long sentence into it. Mm-hmm. And then finally, all these battles, obviously anyone who's a woman, but anyone who's had a daughter, anyone who has a granddaughter. I mean, this was a huge moment that gets lost in the fights we have, who gets the nomination and all that. But if you could just step back, because I was asked during the interviews, we had a bunch of interviews, thanks to Gene setting them up, but we had a whole bunch of interviews.
And Linda Shaffron, who did a lot of that too, back home.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And so we had all these interviews, and they kept asking, what do you want Hillary to say tonight? And my reaction was, I wanted to soak in the moment. Mm-hmm. We've got 3 months ahead for a campaign. Right. This is historic. This is important. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful moment. I loved it.
What about you, Gene? What was your favorite?
Megan, 2 things come to mind. Probably the first was we were walking through the parking lot on maybe Thursday morning. And there had been a huge demonstration the night before. Remember, the police told us that they cut off all the Uber drivers coming in, getting in and out of the convention because the security was pretty complicated. And there was a crew of men who had brooms, shovels, and garbage bags. And Jerry went over with them, and everybody wanted to get a selfie with Jerry. It was actually very cool. And we joked about this, how you're known largely for your TV show, at least outside of Cincinnati. Cincinnati, you're known as former mayor, council member, anchorman, blah, blah, blah. But outside of here, it's pretty much the TV show. So everybody from the highest ranking politician, attorney, right down to everybody, teachers, unionists, workers, etc. So these guys were out there with shovels and brooms, and Jerry went over and did selfies with them, and then he saw what they were doing, and he says, you know, I'm a man of the people, and can I help you? And Jerry helped them shovel up horse manure, I think, from the mounted police. From the mounted police who were there the night before.
Good for you.
But I was wearing an Armani suit, and when they pitched in, they were sloppy.
Right.
I could have ruined my suit.
They got some of that on your Armani.
I did. I said, hey, whoa, this is Armani.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Then I
God.
lost being a man of the people.
You want to know the
Very
other
quickly.
one? The other one, Megan, was Cory Booker,
Oh, yeah.
senator from New Jersey.
Yep.
Great.
And
Yep.
Jerry and I looked at each other because we were in the hall all 4 nights. God bless the Ohio Democratic Party. Yep. We were guests of the Ohio Democratic Party. We had delegate passes on Monday nights.
Oh, you were?
I was
Okay.
sitting right next to the red phone. 3 seats over, Ashley Judd.
No kidding.
Yep, sitting with the Ohio delegation.
I saw the camera.
Jerry
pan
went
her a
over
few
and sucked
times.
up to
I know.
her. And
Yeah, she's adorable.
She smiled at me.
She did not. She smiled past you.
All right, but it was a smile. No, she said she had, honestly, she said she went to England and she saw Jerry Springer, the opera.
Shut up.
Yeah, she did.
She doesn't have better things to do.
I was very proud. She's an opera lover.
She's a fan of the
Cory
arts.
Booker, we both said, dude, that guy is the next one.
He's legit. Yeah.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
And so that was a big moment. But my gosh, there were, like Jerry says, there was, one night it was Michelle Obama who was amazing. Chelsea Clinton,
Chelsea
Bill
was great.
Clinton.
Yep.
It kept coming in waves, very well orchestrated. But let's touch on this. Monday night when we walked into that hall, that was a divided
That was what I was going to ask.
convention.
Was what were the
40% of the people there were for Bernie.
Right.
And this is the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party is really a party of coalitions, a party of interest groups. And so, it wasn't like everyone was part of a troop that would be in order. Everyone came in with their own agenda. And the Bernie people, knew that they wouldn't get the nomination, but they were there because they had worked very hard for a year. And they won 40% of the vote, and so and they were very vocal, and most of them, by the time it was over, got behind Hillary, but some didn't, and some were protesting very loudly. Were interrupting at the end. Some even went, what I would say, beyond the bounds of appropriateness and cursing and screaming and. They weren't escorted out by security. It was just that some of the delegates, big union guys,
Took care of it.
and so some of them were walked out. Friend,
They just-
here, let me help you to your car.
You know where the door is, right?
Seriously, we're Democrats, and you and I have been going to conventions. I
We
started
used
going
to
in
be
80.
the other ones.
You were the ones
we
being
were.
thrown out.
You were there maybe in Chicago in '76. Is that true? No, not
Chicago in '68.
68. I mean,
Yeah. 68. In 72, it was McGovern, and we were all on the same side then, losing, but all for McGovern. The big one was 1980,
80.
when we were for, you and I were there,
both
we were for
delegates.
Ted Kennedy, and Carter got the nomination, and we were pretty upset and at times raucous and whatever. So we get it.
we fight. Democrats are our family, and sometimes we fight, and we did see that. And boy, I tell you, you could feel it in the hall on Monday night. And then I think as the week progressed, would you agree, Jerry, that it's sort of like catharsis? You need to play out some of this anger and disappointment. And by Thursday night, it was less, though there was still some drama going on.
Do you know what was really palpable, though, even just watching it, was that the feeling was so different. The message was so much more positive. Did it feel that way there as well? Because it came across that way when you were watching it.
It's almost impossible not to be partisan, but you try not to be. And then you sit there and you listen to the message of that convention, one speaker after another. And there was nothing at that convention said, nothing that you wouldn't talk to your child about.
Right.
It was totally decent. It was decent in terms of the issue of discrimination. It was decent in terms of health and education and caring for each other. It was just such a warm, come on in, open door to everybody kind of feeling. And you have that versus what the darkness at the convention the week before.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like, what part of that was optimistic and hopeful and gee, boys and girls, you know, you should think this about Muslims. You should think this about the Hispanic. I mean, it was just so positive versus negative.
Yeah.
It was like, why will this be a close election? I mean, if you only voted on decency, forget the issue, just decency. How do you wind up voting the other side? And we'll talk a little bit about
I'll give you
later.
3 words. Remember this, Jerry? Because we were, like I say, we were in the hall 4 nights, and you know, we're hanging out together and talking and comparing notes. And Cory Booker used the image rising. Remember that, Jerry? He talked about rising. When slaves were slaves, there was always the spirit of we will rise from this. And that it was a motif, a reoccurring theme, as I learned in literature at Xavier University. Rising was the word. And then I think it was Joe Biden that came in, and his word of the night was forward. We're going forward. And then Hillary on the final night talked about stronger together, 2
Love
words.
that.
And that
Yep.
was a theme. So the language even, they had thought this so through that they were using motif words to push this positivity that Jerry's talking about. You would be very conscious of it if you just paid attention, and we were paying attention.
From my perspective, just watching it, Michelle Obama just crushed it. She was so amazing. I was so proud watching her.
Well, the big thing she said was, our children are watching.
Absolutely.
You know, you want to be a national leader, a world leader. You can't say the things Trump says. You just can't. How do you explain? You have to turn off the TV when he's on. You know, what kind of country, what kind of people are we for that? Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, there was some insanity. Here was some insanity caused by Jerry Springer, as always. I cause no drama. I'm just sort of like, my head's down, I'm working. But Jerry, CNN says to Jerry, here's how the media was done. First of all, I got to tell you, I believe Jerry Springer did somewhere between 50 and 80 interviews.
Really?
From Fox News multiple times, Fox News Business, CNN multiple times, Gawker. It went everywhere. Local radio, San Francisco radio station, Cincinnati Enquirer. It went on. And it happened like this. Linda Shafran, Jerry's publicist, who has plenty of contacts and they know how to find her, she was generating a lot of them from back in Chicago, I guess is where she is. Then I'm on the ground there, and it's always it's usually an entourage of 1. People will come over and say, you know, who's with Springer, that guy there, and then there'd be, you know, need one? Can you do one? Can you do one? And we just kept them coming and coming because he was helping Hillary Clinton the whole time, Jerry. You're on message, your own talking points, but it was wonderful. But then somebody from CNN said, hey, Jerry, would you do Don Lemon's show?
Oh.
And he said, sure. What time? Oh, it'll be 1 in the morning. 1 in the morning? Yeah, we'll do it. Well, it turned out it was 2:45 in the morning.
Oh.
2:45.
Did you get a nap in before that, Jerry?
Now.
Oh, that's late.
Then we had to go back to the hotel and get up at 6
The next morning
to start the next day, because the next day, Jerry, here's another thing, Megan, Jerry spoke to the Nebraska delegation. They invited him to come to their breakfast meeting. He did the Virgin Islands, who were mixed in also with Ohio. He did the state of Washington, who were combined with Massachusetts. So he'd be out in the morning going off to talk to these delegations who loved his message. So it was, you know, we had a blast, but we were on it.
Oh, I bet.
And the message was, and I just want to take a minute to, in a sense, repeat the message. You've heard some of this before, but of the whole over a year we've been doing this podcast, I want to repeat this because I believe it is the single most important political thing in our lifetime, with the exception of the civil rights movement. And I don't hesitate to say it. There has never, ever, ever, ever in American history been an election like this one. because, and the point I made at the morning breakfast where I spoke, this is the first time in American history we have ever had a major party candidate run for president of the United States who is opposed to the idea America. It has never, ever happened before. We have had Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, all kinds of candidates, even some candidates that morally, whether you're talking about Richard Nixon or whatever, even presidents that have done some pretty bad things. But every single one of them, you can get as conservative as you want. Ronald Reagan, what did he say? America, the city on a hill. Every single person who ever ran for president of the United States understands and understood that America is beyond all else an idea. It is the only country in the history of the world ever to be created by an idea. Every other nation starts out as either a tribe, a kingdom, an ethnic group, a monarchy, an empire, trying to expand its land, find access to the seaways so it can have trade. Every other nation in the world started that way, except the United States of America, which first was an idea as articulated in the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, the Bill of Rights, and as manifested in the Statue of Liberty. The idea was there would be one place on earth where we don't care what your religion is, what ethnicity you have, where you're from, who your parents are, none of that matters. There's a place for you to be free, to pray, express yourself as you want, and you can be the best you can possibly be. Come to our shores. Statue of Liberty. And now, for the first time, despicably, we have someone running for president who wants to take that statue and turn it into a wall. Replace the Statue of Liberty, metaphorically, and in some cases literally, with a wall. It is the most un-American concept you can have. And here's what the problem is, which really came to light this week with the big stink over what Donald Trump said of this family that lost their son in defending our country. Everyone's saying, how could Trump say that to the parents of this young man who made the ultimate sacrifice? We are all appalled by it. Even the Republican leadership is appalled by it. What decent person wouldn't be? But I'm here to say it is not enough to blast Trump for being so insensitive and cruel and ugly for what he said to those parents. What about those who are supporting Trump now that they know what he's like? Now that they know what his view is? I'm asking anyone who had been thinking about voting for Trump, a lot because of party loyalty. I understand party loyalty. But after this, how can anyone with any sense of decency put political issues aside? Let's not talk liberal conservatism. Don't talk Democrat, Republican. Don't talk who has the better health care plan, who has the better view on minimum wage. Put all those issues aside. Those are legislative. We can debate those. But what you can't debate is decency and the idea America. And I am saying, and I never thought I'd say this, I've got a suggestion how to save the Republican Party. Yeah, they don't want advice from me, obviously. But if you want to save the Republican Party, and those of us who believe there ought to be a two-party system in our country at least, and I want a strong, viable Republican Party because I think there are issues that need to be debated. I'm not one of them on that side, but I understand there is a conservative point of view. But right now, There is no Republican Party anymore. If the people that call themselves Republican can back Donald Trump, then there is nothing you really believe in. What does the Republican Party stand for? What is the core of the party if you can listen to Trump and say, oh, that's us? No. You want to save the Republican Party? And I start with McConnell and Ryan. I think the Republican leadership ought to get together, including the past Republican nominees, past Republican presidents, the Republican congressional leadership. They should all get together and say, we love our party. We love the principles of our party. We hope people vote Republican, but do not vote for Donald Trump, President of the United States. You will lose this presidential election this way. I understand it. I think you're going to lose it anyway. But you, at least this way, will lose this election, but you will have saved the principle of the Republican Party. John McCain, an absolute patriot, a man of high dignity and quality that has given his life, devoted his life to this country. John McCain could stand up and say, I'm a Republican, vote for me, but I will not vote Donald Trump, President of the United States. Then the Republican Party means something. That's what I think of that.
Well, I tell you, Megan, I can only follow that by saying that we met somebody at the Democratic convention this week who maybe stands a little in contrast to Jerry's message. It's a woman, and let me describe how we met her.
Okay.
She had often a gaggle of reporters around her. Mm-hmm. She was drawing significant attention from big reporters to smaller entities. And we talked to her once. We even had her, we did a report on her. I'll give you her name. It's Susie Sampson. I'm going to pass a phone number over to David Pruce, our technical director here, and ask David, because I got her phone number and asked her.
What was drawing the attention?
Well, the second time we saw her, we walked upon her as she was completing the song, the last few words of "God Bless America."
Oh, wait a second. She was this real conservative right-wing Republican
who
at
basically
the Democratic convention.
Who snuck in. She snuck in with a journalist credential.
No kidding.
And it was not hard to do. I got a journalist credential to give you an idea of how
very lax they are.
On a journalist credential. So she had a journalist credential, and she's I don't know. To be honest, Megan, I think of Denise Compton. She intimidates me because they're watching us at East Compton from Podcast Watch.
Oh, yeah.
You remember her?
You're not on her list. You're
She's
not on her
watching
good
us.
list.
Well, Susie Sampson ran some of the same kind of message on us about, well, you kept talking about you guys are not patriotic. You don't respect the American icons, even of music. And she was just completing singing God Bless America. And I think David has made contact. He just called her cell phone. Miss Sampson, are you on with us?
Hi.
That's her.
Hi.
And Jerry, you got to jump in on this because this woman scares the hell out of me.
I remember. Yeah.
I think she's from Florida or South Carolina.
Susie, where are you from?
South Carolina.
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
Hi, Susie.
That's Megan Hills, by the way, Susie.
You're a conservative Republican, fair to say pretty right-wing, isn't that true?
Of course.
Yeah, and you're proud of it.
You betcha.
And then why were you at the Democratic convention?
Well, you got to keep tabs on you liberal folks.
See, that's the thing about her. I just get uneasy. And Susie, we came upon you as you were finishing the song, God Bless America. We all know that song. We all love that song. And it is one of America's iconic patriotic songs.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And Susie, I wondered if you would, and maybe this is, by the way, Megan and Jerry and Susie, where we can find common ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we all agree that
we all
God
love
Bless
that
America
song.
is
We're
a
all
wonderful
patriots.
song.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we
Well,
heard.
I'm a patriot. I don't know about y'all.
Well, we are. See, she lectures us.
Susie,
See what she
now we're
does?
gonna
She
have a
lectures
problem.
us.
Well, then go
We
away.
are patriotic.
Well, I'll show you how patriotic we are. We would love to hear you sing
Please
God
sing
Bless
God
America.
Bless America,
as
and
you
our
did,
audience-
as you tried to do at the convention.
Go ahead. Please sing that for us, and because we do appreciate that song.
Well, is one of you going to be chiming in, or is it just my solo hour?
Oh, it's your solo time. Please sing the song.
You do it.
Get it, Susie.
Do it the way you do it.
All right. Well, I like to put my own spin on it.
Okay.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her.
Whoa.
She yada yada yada.
Hold on a second, Susie. Whoa. She was going like da 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 da.
Wait. You're the patriot. Where are the words?
The words are written on my heart.
Yeah. Oh no, that doesn't. No, that doesn't.
No.
Why didn't you sing them?
Yeah, you're the patriot. Saying we'd like.
Well, in fact, Jerry, I mean, maybe we should just school her. Maybe
Absolutely.
the liberal schools are conservative. Sing "God Bless America" for her, Jerry.
I'm hoarse from yelling at the convention.
You'll
but I'll
do
give it a
just
shot.
fine. Just listen up, Susie.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and lift her from the sky to the wind.
No, that's not it either. That's not it either. Oh my God!
I could have done it.
Oh my God! You don't know the song.
Well, I do. I was paraphrasing.
No, you don't paraphrase. You don't paraphrase. God bless. Wait a second. Is Casey Campbell back there? Let's hear it for Casey Campbell.
Please.
Now, in fairness,
now Casey Campbell.
Hey, listen to this, Susie.
Casey Campbell
He's a
is
socialist.
He is. Now this is. He supported Bernie Sanders. He is a professional singer. He has sung this song at Great American Ballpark, seventh inning stretch.
Yes.
Casey Campbell, let's hear God Bless America as you know it.
As you know it. As a socialist knows it.
How's a
You mean the right words.
The right words.
Okay. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home sweet.
Now stay out of this.
Home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
That was okay.
Hey,
Because
Susie,
America.
put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Right?
All the best songs are socialist songs.
That was okay. I'm not gonna lie. I prefer the words on my heart, but fine, whatever.
All right. Thank you. Let's hear it for Susie
Thank
Sampson.
you, Susie.
Thank you, Susie. We'll talk to you again sometime.
Yeah.
All right, here's another thing, Megan.
What you got, Gene?
Yeah.
The car scene.
Oh, yeah, you said that traffic was a little heavy.
So Jerry rolls high class. And so Jerry rolls in there with his driver from New York,
Baller.
Thomas. And he's driving a Cadillac Escalade. Jerry looked like he was like the governor of Arkansas or something.
It wouldn't be an Escalade if it was Arkansas.
No, I guess it wouldn't be. Ford Escape. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
A Kia?
Okay. Yeah.
It's
Anyway.
where we raise our guests.
Arkansas? That's where they all come from?
Yeah, some West Virginia, but most Arkansas.
Ludlow, Kentucky, too. Yeah. Hey, but Uber had a contract with the convention.
Oh, really?
And so the closest place you could get a car to was the Uber lot, which was just outside security. But Thomas was an Uber driver. So Thomas goes back to his hotel and makes a fake Uber sign for his car. Puts it in the window, and all of a sudden now he's Uber.
And that's how you do.
That's how you do
I
it.
was opposed to that.
We're not.
Testing 1 2 1 2.
The problem was
What?
at the end of each night, the Uber line, it was going to take hours to get out of there. So I taught
We walked 1.5 miles every night just to get to the car after the convention.
Yeah.
So you start at 6 o'clock in the morning, and now it's 11:30,
That's crazy.
12:30 at night. We are, and we're not young.
Really?
We were exhausted. Honestly, we are walking there.
But Jerry always
No, it's
thought-
over here. No, we go this way.
He always thought it would be a good idea to go have dinner at midnight. So we found this diner in Philly.
Yeah.
Great diner. So at 1
Oh,
o'clock,
great.
he's shooting more selfies with the staff, etc. But I taught Jerry how to do map and compass. And I taught him, look up, see the Big Dipper, and off the cup of the Big Dipper is a North Star. And if you walk just to the right of the North Star, you'll hit Holiday Inn. Look like a mountain miles away. And that's where Thomas would park the car. Remember that?
And it
10th
was
and
miles
Packer.
away. We would keep looking at that building. And you kept saying, always keep the river to your
You
left.
keep the
There's
river
no
on the
river.
left. You keep the river on the
Where
left.
was the river?
And
There
the
was no
Holiday
water.
Inn. Holiday Inn on the right, river on the left. But no, there wasn't a river. That's a good point.
Come to
So
think of it.
what was I looking for?
Hey,
That's why we never got there.
I know. How about Microsoft? Tell them about Microsoft.
Well,
those are good people.
There were a couple of companies that had promotions there at the convention, and so they had like a booth, and the booth was like a few really nice couches and chairs, and they had a display and stuff like that. But as I said, we were exhausted because it was honestly non-stop interviews. Gene said we had, I'd say 70 interviews maybe.
That's incredible.
It was it never stopped, and we were so tired that we would park ourselves in this Microsoft thing. We became friends with them, and we called it our office.
I'm sure they appreciate it.
And they were so great because if someone was sitting in there, their people would go in and say, "Oh, we have to do an interview here now," and the people would get up and then.
We propose that they get some crime tape and put it across the couch, so that would always be
someplace
there.
else. Because every once in a while you got to go to the bathroom, so you got to run them back and then hope that your seat is there.
And we also had them put some crime tape across one of the stalls in the men's room, right across from Microsoft. So yeah, private bathroom.
Worked out well for you,
Worked
huh?
out pretty well. Hey, get this. We were doing the Facebook Live stuff, and we had just a camera, cell phone, basically, with a good microphone jacked in. We saw 3 people asleep on the Microsoft couch. We were kind of pissed about that. Like, that's our couch. And so we did a video of them stone sleeping. And then we put it up saying the headline was, "Get off our couch." And so the woman from Microsoft, who was from like Seattle or something, said, "Gene," we got to know him. She's, "Gene, can you do that ethically? They don't have your permission." I said, "Well, actually, you can't do that."
What is this ethic
Yeah.
word?
So when they woke up,
Well-
Megan, I went over and talked to them, and I said, "We did this video," and I showed it to them. They thought it was hilarious. The woman then tells us she went to college at Wesley with Hillary Clinton.
And she was the one person that had beaten Hillary in election. They ran for some student council office.
And she's still alive.
And she's still a friend.
She's a delegate.
She's a delegate. She's a friend of Hillary. And she said, I was the one person, the only election she ever lost until Obama in 08. But she had never lost an election except for this woman who was falling asleep on our couch. We didn't know that. So we're just talking to her, and then she tells us a story. Well, this was
a great
the
story.
perfect interview.
We interviewed the youngest delegate at the convention,
I saw that.
17-year-old high school
Yeah.
girl. And by the way, we probably had like 80,000 hits for the stuff we were putting up. We made a commitment that we would do some funny stuff, we would do some serious stuff. The one where Jerry did a analysis from the convention floor got close to 10,000 hits. A German journalist who was waiting in line. I exposed Jerry to something he had never done before in his life, and that is called waiting in a line
with other humans.
with other human beings.
Right.
when you're
What was
waiting.
that?
Weird.
So-
So weird. I'm
so
so,
we're-
sorry you had to
Honestly,
go
there
through
was
that.
like a person in front, and there was a person behind.
I know. I'm so sorry you had to suffer that kind
Really?
of injustice.
Oh, and there were
It's
no
awful.
chairs.
It's unbelievable, Chair. It really is. I can't believe you made it back.
So this German journalist was writing for 6 newspapers in Germany. Did an interview with him. It got like 30,000 hits.
No
So I'm big
Was
in
it-
Germany now.
Yeah.
You and Hasselhoff, man, taking over.
Oh no.
So it was. It was a blast.
That's so
It was
cool.
very stimulating. we now, Jerry and I come home committed to doing our part to try to, do some volunteer work. We're talking about even in Ludlow, Kentucky, maybe doing some door-to-door work for Hillary Clinton and the down-ballot people. And we're pushing other people or suggesting to other people. They made it very clear at the convention, didn't they, Jerry?
Yeah.
The people from the podium. This is hard work. Mm-hmm. You assume nothing. This is like the Obama elections 4 years ago, 8 years ago. People have to get organized. They have to do field stuff.
Let's talk about, just for a second, about the elephant in the room, because it was at the convention. And to be fair, including people here at the coffee parlor. A lot of our friends, and 40% of the people at the convention, at least the first night, were for Bernie Sanders. And clearly, they had incredible influence on ultimately the platform and also the positions of Hillary Clinton. There's no question they moved her further to the left. And this is the most liberal platform the Democratic Party has had in generations. So, but all of them, virtually all of them, are disappointed. And some of them are downright angry. And some of them even will not vote for Hillary, though I assume very few of them will vote for Trump, but some of them won't. And I think that issue has to be dealt with. Considering the danger of having Donald Trump as president of the United States, we have to deal with this issue. And I think we have to intelligently speak to our Sanders friends and recognize what they're feeling, what their investment in him has been, and how difficult it is when you've worked against someone for a year, because we've been on that side, all of a sudden, wow, now we're out there pumping away for Hillary. And I guess here's what I would say. First of all, without sound patronizing, the truth is we know how you feel because we have felt that several times before. I'll give you specifics. I got into politics working for Bobby Kennedy. He was the political god to me. And many of us who were for Bobby and those who were for Gene McCarthy in 1968, I'll tell you what we did. And I would say that to Republicans as well. Lyndon Johnson is the Democratic president. He's president of the United States, a Democrat. We are in an election year. And many of us Democrats fought tooth and nail to topple our own party's president. Not just the candidate running, but the guy who was president. We were ready to defeat our own party's president because we believe so strongly against the war in Vietnam and on some other issues too, but basically that. When Lyndon Johnson on March 31st of 68 said, I shall not seek the presidency, I'm dropping out, then all of a sudden they put Hubert Humphrey, the vice president, as the establishment Democrat for the presidency. And those young kids, me being one of them, for Bobby or for McCarthy, were outraged. Hubert Humphrey hadn't run in any primaries. And now the party establishment was going to suddenly anoint Hubert Humphrey. We were so ticked off and so pissed off. And we had, the riots at the Democratic Convention in Chicago. And many of us just stayed home. And you know what? We got Richard Nixon president of the United States. Same thing in 1980. Those of us who were for Ted Kennedy against Jimmy Carter, we lost. And a lot of people didn't go out and support Jimmy Carter. And the result was, and some people think that was a good result, whatever, but we got Ronald Reagan. So we've been there. And I'm here to say, you don't have to come over to Hillary today. You got 3.5 months to reach the conclusion that in politics, it's not like sports. It's not like your team or nothing. Politics, by definition, is working civilly. In other societies, they take guns and they have coups and stuff like that. We don't do that. We have the peaceful transition of power. That's the only way democracy works, which means if you buy into the system of a democracy, you have to recognize that sometimes you lose. And sometimes we go in the desert for 10 years, 20 years before we finally get someone who espouses our point of view. So it happens. Think of how many years African Americans had to go through this. Wait till next year, until finally we had a Barack Obama. So I'm just saying to you, the Bernie Sanders revolution, as he calls it, and many of you call it, got started now. And you can exercise your power and the power of your voice and your effort and your sweat to get your candidates running for the state house, the state legislature, Congress. There's lots to do. No revolution takes one election, ever. You wouldn't have any revolution then if it was just that easy. That's a coup. One more thing, and I know I'm going on, but I think this point has to be made. We have to recognize what's at stake and what could happen. Please don't say, well, we'll have 4 years of Trump. No, that's the end of the idea America. Pulling out of NATO, breaking out treaties, the Supreme Court. What are you thinking? This is crazy. Believe me, the people that he's discriminating against, they can't wait 4 years. They don't have the comfort of the revolution. They're living with the consequences right now. Imagine having a president of the United States who is against your religion or what you really believed or your family's safety or any of this stuff. We can't afford 4 years. So I'm saying you didn't get the final result you wanted, but you didn't get the devil either. You know very well that Hillary Clinton would never, ever, ever come out against health insurance, would never once say we shouldn't have education for our kids. You know that. You know that every second of her adult life, regardless of the politics, she has always been on the side of children, families, health care. You know, even when you get upset with her in Wall Street, why do you think every big corporate businessman hates Hillary Clinton, doesn't want her, is working hard? You think the Koch brothers are for Hillary? I mean, think about it. She's on our side, not on every piece of legislation as you would want it, but she's clearly on our overall team. Don't throw it away. You know, suck it up, come back for the next election. You got congressional races to work on. We can't afford to have Hillary Clinton lose the presidency to Donald Trump. I swear to you, you will regret it, you will regret it, you will regret it.
All right. Hey, let's work in some music, and I'm going to ask that Warrick and Lowell come up here, and let me tell you about them as they're coming up. They're two brothers from Indiana, and they'll be performing, by the way, this year at the Whispering Beard Folk Festival, which is an amazing gathering in Friendship, Indiana every summer in August. And we're going to ask these guys to do a song for us, and then we're going to chat with them for a minute.
Sorry, 1 second.
They're gearing up, putting capos on and getting picks out.
You don't need to do any more.
I'll hum in the meantime.
Here we go.
Save the Union Terminal.
Nope, 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 nope.
The talk of this town seems to center around your bed. The sins you committed on days long ago dead. And the town's all buzz with the latest news about you. No one much cares whether or not it's true. Boys by riverside. Don't care if we live or die, just wanna be left alone. No matter how harsh it seems, we still call this place home. That casino bears down the heart of this town for sure. It sits on the spot of your granddad's grocery store. And across the street, the faded old paint on the arcade sign, now shuttered and shut just like the hearts that used to wait there in pine. The train yard's the only place that makes any noise anymore. It screeches all night long. No matter how heavy it gets, we still call this place home. Hold on, girl, the worst soon pass. Your mama's cool hand brushed the hair from your neck and your eyes. She's been gone 10 years this June. And think of her often, especially what would she do? Monday morning comes hard, wish you could start over noon. Didn't want ordinary times, you didn't get them, did you? So slip on your shoes, pet the dog, walk out the door. Another wave crash on your well-worn shore. This town didn't die, just don't come alive anymore. Maybe it will soon. No matter how hopeful we get, we still call this place home. No matter how hopeful we get, we still call this place home.
Yeah. That's Warrick and Lowell. By the way, that song's called Middletown, correct?
Yes.
And that's written by Jonathan Warwick Ford. His brother is Robert Rabbit Lowell Ford. And these guys have been playing music since they were teenagers, but you guys just only recently got together and started writing music and performing under that name.
That's right. We played together in the past, but it's never been a real collaborative effort. It's just been sort of one guy leading the show and the other guy supporting.
You know, there are Jerry and Megan, there are a lot of family groups, brother groups, Everly Brothers, if you go way back to the 50s and the 60s. And brothers sometimes have this great rapport, musical rapport and harmonies because you spend a lot of time singing together, etc. So your music can be heard. You've got a website, which is warrickandlowell.com, and you've got a record coming out in the fall, correct?
That's right. Yeah, we're working on it now. Hopefully, we'll have it out soon. We play around town. Sometimes we play as a 5-piece group with some of our other friends. So that's sort of how the record sounds. But we play out like this too. So
nice.
We're looking forward to it.
Do a second song for us. Well, yeah, this one I think is called "Like a Fire," correct? All right. Warrick and Lowell.
I've been reading through the maze of the horoscope, talking to the devil while he ties a rope for me. I've been digging up the roots of a family tree, chopping off the branches and giving them away for free. I've been hiding in the fog of a memory, drinking up the spirits while they talk to me. I've been drawing up the plans for a robbery. We had high-top sneakers and heavy metal shirts, cigarettes smoking in the parking lot of the church. Fireball dreams and gasoline plans, scratching out a living and stacking up our cans. We were holding off on love till we understand. Well, I'm walking to the rhythm of another heart. Yeah, I'm breaking up with science and embracing art. 3 years ago I made up a plan for becoming a different man. And these tiptoe preachers and the store clerks telling us that life ain't nothing but the meaning of work. And I know we had places we were going to, Red Rocky Mountains and Mississippi River blues. Oh, we let it all pass and we put it on hold. Set it all down and we started growing old. I got a picture on my wall in New Mexico. I was almost lost when you took my hand. You led me out of the water and onto the sand. And I'm trying like fire to believe again. Yeah, I'm trying like fire to believe again.
Really good, guys. Good writing, great sound. Can you take us out?
Please turn my mic off.
Saturday night I got married. Me and my wife
great notion.
Oh, he screwed this up.
Sometimes I live in town. Sometimes I think a great notion
Help him
to
out.
jump in the river and drown.
That's as bad as God Bless America.
Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dream. Y'all come back now, you hear? Whoa. Josie, next time you're coming up here and singing for me.